Good morning and welcome. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and I'm joining you on what is a Friday morning for me here. And as you can no doubt hear, the rain is hammering down. So I do apologise for the background sound effects of the rain hammering on my conservatory roof. I would very much like to, have a beautiful custom built studio from which I could come to you live that didn't include the sound effects. All donations gratefully received. Okay, so what shall we play with this morning on this wet Friday morning? Actually, our gardens do need it. That's what we've got to keep reminding ourselves. The gardens need it. We've had a week or so of sunshine. We need a bit of a rainy day. Hopefully it won't hang around for too long. Morning Beryl and morning Jackie. Right, I thought we'd have a play with the peaches this morning. I've not really had a play other than literally playing with stamping and colouring to see what colours would be nice to use with this peach stamp. So that's as far as I've got in using my set. So I thought we would get together this morning and have a bit of a play with the You're a Peach set. So this is one of the bundles in the annual catalogue, page 60, if you've got yours around or if you're looking for them. And it's really beautiful. The suite consists of the stamp and die bundle, some DSPs and these really cute little jam jars, and we'll have a look at those in a bit more detail in a minute. I was looking at these samples just before I came on. They're really pretty. So this one is sort of a die cut circle, and you've got this little blobby stamp in the background, and you'll see in a minute that you get like the branch, and you can either choose to put little peaches in it or little blossoms. This one here is really good. So they've die cut lots of these greeneries, and some have got peaches in, some have got peach blossom, and they're just sort of not quite made a wreath, but just oh, there we go, placed it round that card. Really lovely. And then this one has got the two big peaches and that beautiful DSP in the background, and another little strip of paper here. This is one of the jars, and we'll have a look at those in a minute. How pretty is that? And this is some little die cut flowers in the middle there, and this one is using the blossom. And I haven't looked up the project instructions for these, but I would imagine that that's perhaps been created by using the stamping white markers and colouring direct onto the flowers to get those multi-tonal blossoms just there. So really gorgeous. There's another little jar. Have a peachy day. Gorgeous little suite. Some lovely samples in there as always, and a bit of a handy hint in here about adding in some colour with a dauber, which is one of the things we're going to be doing this morning anyway. So let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. Morning Jane. So sweet as a peach. As I say, you've got this sort of branch with the gaps in, and into those gaps you can either add little peaches or blossoms, and you've got your big peach and your leaves to go with that, your leaves and your stalk to go with that. Really nice greetings. I like this font. Happy birthday, thanks so much, sweet as a peach, have a peachy day. And then you've got these little bits. Thanks for being as, hope your day is as, to a sweet friend, let's celebrate you, it's your day, you're as. So obviously you're as sweet as a peach. Thank you for being as sweet as a peach. Hope your day is as sweet as a peach. And then you get the little hello and the little friend there. And you get these little flowers, these little leaves. This little sort of like starburst effect. So really nice stamps there. Obviously then the dies, lots of those will coordinate with these stamps. You have your big peach. You have your leaves. You have your three little peaches, your three blossom. Won't worry too much about lining those up. That does line up when you flip it over the right way. That cuts out your branches. You've then got another branch. You've got lots of these little leaves. You've got these little pairs of leaves. I don't know if they match up with that stamp. They're quite a bit bigger than that. And then you get these little flowers. So you've got 3 sets of the small one and one of the slightly bigger ones, so that if you wanted to add smaller blossoms to your branch, or indeed to this branch, you've got those there, as well as all your leaves and things that you're going to be able to cut out in multiples to be able to build those pictures up. So a great set of coordinating dies to go with that lovely stamp set. Let's put those to one side for a minute. The papers, as you would expect, are just beautiful. This was one that was featured in a sample in the catalogue. But I like the fact that on the back, so you get this lovely bold print on the front. On the back here, you've got this sort of almost quite grungy, sort of distressed, dotty look. And this one is a mixture of flowers and peaches. They might even have cut those blossoms out from here, so you could fussy cut them. This one is just lots of little peaches on a white background. We've had that one. This is lovely. These sort of blue flowers, that's really quite different. And then a nice sort of coral stripe. There's all your blossom, and there's a little blue stripe, a thinner blue stripe. These are your peaches on a white background. Obviously you could sponge that if you wanted to. You could cut these peaches out. I don't know whether any of them match up with the die. Yeah, you'd probably get away with die cutting some of those if you wanted to, or you could fussy cut them, but just beautiful as a background. And then this lovely dot on the back there. And then this is really pretty with this blossom. And then a nice sort of green background there. So really nice set of papers. Great to use on their own or to coordinate with those stamps and dies. And then you get the little jam jars. Now, note to the wise, they are not glass jam jars, they are plastic. Great if you want something for all your storage, but lovely for putting, you know, I saw a demonstrator put a post up about she'd been creating bath salts to go in these. And of course you could put things like jam and things in them, but, and Stampin' Up did put on their demonstrator website, I think it was yesterday, the day before, a note. They are plastic, so if you are going to put jam and things in them, please don't put it in them as you sort of take it off the stove top absolutely boiling hot, because obviously just made really hot jam and preserves is incredibly hot, as you will know if ever you've splashed yourself with it. It will melt them, so you would need your peach jam or your marmalade or whatever it is to cool considerably before you then transferred it to your jar. And obviously, you know, if you tend to sterilize jars by putting them in the oven or something, don't do that with those either. But you could fill them with sweets, you could do all sorts of things with them, fill them with buttons, you know, lots of lovely ideas. They're a lovely size. Yeah, but please don't use them to pour hot things in, because as you know, logically we know really hot things and plastic generally don't live very well together. So let's move these to one side on that public service announcement. Let us move on. Right, I have actually grabbed out, and I'm not sure what we're going to use yet, a few of the sort of tags and labels and things. I don't know what I've done with my cover for that one. I'm sure it will it will come to life eventually. So here we've got the Stitched So Sweetly dies. Here we've got the tailor-made tags, which again are something that are new from the annual catalogue, and the shaped contour dies. Again, new in this catalogue, go along with that lovely florally set, the name of which temporarily evades me, but I do really love it. Used it a lot when it first came, when I first received it, but these are really lovely dies as well, so we'll decide which one of those we're going to play with as we go along. I think I might come in with the scalloped contours first. Now this, they differ a bit. So this large one just here has got like a scalloped border with the holes in, and it's just a sort of, this one has got the scalloped outside, just a plain scalloped outside with this sort of dotty stitched outline. This has got a scalloped outline with a sort of longer line stitching around there. This one is the one that actually cuts on these lines just here so that you can actually thread things through. And then we've got this little one just here that's got the little holes in. So they're all different, all beautiful in their own right. I think we might have that one. There's also a nice stitched scallop in there as well. So that's the scalloped contour dies. So let's start with one of these. And let's get ourselves a bit of Whisper White. No, basic white. Old habits die hard. And to cut that basic white in half for a minute. And we'll cut it in half this way and give ourselves a bit of cardstock to play with. I think we will cut one of those. Just run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which is sitting here beside me. And there we have a beautiful scalloped edge with sort of like this dotty inner line, so really pretty. Lovely set of dies. And I'm going to take missing some of my stamp blocks, but we'll take this one, which is an E block, and some Pear Pizzazz ink. And let's just ink that up. Now, once again, these are distinctive stamps, so just like the baby ones and the What's Cooking ones, these also are a distinctive stamp. I'm going to bring that right to the top just there. And let's stamp that. And let's bring that in there and stamp it again, so we'll have it coming all the way down our Right, I'm going to decision. I'm actually going to bring in my Blushing Bride, I think. Blushing Bride isn't mentioned on the colours for the paper, but obviously we don't have to stick with colours of paper. And I'm going to open up my Calypso Coral and get my Calypso Coral sponge dauber. Ink that up with Blushing Bride. I'm going to dab my sponge dauber into some Calypso Coral and add in a bit of that round and about. Now what I haven't done is played about and decided where these flowers go. Decisions. No, it definitely doesn't go that way. This is where you needed to have a play first. I think it's going to have to be that way. Yep, that way. That was a lot of decision making, wasn't it? Let's come in again. Blushing Bride. Bit of Calypso Coral. Yeah, that way I think. We'll come in that way. Okay, so we've got some blossom coming down there. I'm now going to grab these little peaches. Hi Debbie. Blossom back over there. Let's grab these little peaches and let's take ourselves a snippet of basic white. Now this time I'm going to start with some Mango Melody, I think, as our base. So the blossom we went with Blushing Bride, the peaches themselves. I'm going to start with Mango Melody. I'm just going to do 3 of those. Let's do that once more with feeling. Let's turn that over. Let's this time take our sponge dauber and we'll add in so it's got a base colour of Mango Melody, and then we've added in some Calypso Coral. And we will die cut those 3 little peaches. It's beautiful, isn't it? I've obviously been admiring it, and it arrived actually just before I went away on holiday for a few days. So this is actually the first time I've had any serious play with it this morning. No, actually this is the first time I've had any play with it this morning. So we've got these little peaches and we will add some of those along our little line just there. I think we will take our little set of leaves and actually, because I want that to be equally sort of stamped, if you like, that same sort of stamped image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the biggest peach and I'm going to ink it up randomly in Pear Pizzazz, and then I'm going to use that stamped piece to die cut some little leaves from, and if we need to add in a bit more colour we will do. But rather than using cardstock that's going to be too dark, of course the absolute best stamp for doing that would have been the little watercolour squarey one. I haven't got that one yet, but you can see how they're sort of, those leaves are now going to work with the rest of the background because they're stamped and not just die cut from solid coloured card. And I think we'll squeeze a third one out of there. I could have actually, I've got two of those dies, could have die cut those, two of those at the same time. And we'll have our little leaves stuck on here. Now there is a little sort of frame for some of your words as well. Right, Dua. It's your day. Where's It's Your Day? Just there. Let's bring in our Pear Pizzazz, I think. Die cut that It's Your Day. That wonked a little bit right at the last minute. I am going to just die cut. Just went a little bit wonky right at the last minute, so let's not stick with something that's going to drive us mad. Let's die cut another one. And we'll stamp that instead. So we've got an It's Your Day. That we'll have added in somewhere. And I think we'll also have a happy birthday. I think the rain is going to be relentless today. Then let's use some pear pizzazz. Just stamp ourselves happy birthday. Snip those so that that's It's raining all over the world. There's a cue for a song. Right, let's come in. So before we stick all those bits together, let's come in with some of our paper. Now obviously we're not going to want one of the mad prints. I don't think blue is going to work. We could have a coral stripe. We could go blue stripe, but we haven't put any other blue in there. And that might feel a bit weird. Yeah, don't like blue stripe. Let's go back. We could have coral stripe. We could have this spot. Or we could go green. I think any of those will work. Let me just move these to one side for a minute. So, shall we go? It's beautiful, isn't it, Sheila? So shall we go green background? Shall we go spot? Or shall we go stripe? I'm coming back to either spots or stripes. Might go a bit of spots and stripes, we'll see. I think we'll definitely have the striped background. So let us trim that to size and store it. We'll take a bit of stripy paper, and I definitely want my stripes coming down the card. We'll cut that to a 14.4. So that sits quite nicely on our card front. And then I'm going to cut this to 10 centimetres as well. That's quite a good strip to take off because it's quite a regular size. And I'm going to cut that, I think, to 2.5 centimetres. Come across at the back there to add in just a little bit of spot as well. And if I come back to these contours, scallop contours, there is this little scalloped die, so I think I'm going to scallop the bottom of that bit of paper because we can. here's our little stitched and scalloped piece of spotty paper. So we'll have that coming across the middle here. Just breaks those stripes up a little bit. There's something else in to catch our eye. Let's bring in some white twine. I'm just going to bring that round. And another bit, we'll be a bit more generous with our twine than that. Get a slightly bigger bow. Let's bring that over to the edge. Now what I could do, because I'm going to stick my panel over the top, is just take a little bit of turning tape and sort of anchor that down. So it looks quite ugly there, but in a moment we're not even going to know of the existence of that bit of tape. Let's stick this paper to our card front. Let's build this up with our little bits and pieces. I think I'll start off by just adding a little dollop of glue to the end of the leaves and sticking those, or not, to the peaches. Ooh, all fingers and thumbs this morning. There's one. Two. Maybe absolutely pouring with rain down outside, but I'm still very warm. And three. And we have three little peaches and their leaves. So let's come in and we'll pop a dimension on the back of each of those to pop them up on this card front. We have one there. And coming in the centre here where the two different branches overlapped. And we'll have a third one there somewhere. And I think we'll pop some dimensionals on the back of those, on the back of that. Just come either side of that twine somewhere. And hopefully that will sit over the top of it. Oh, let's put that on the right way after all that. And then put these little pieces here. That's all that's left on this particular strip, but there's a nice little long piece just there. Not going to waste anything. Let's stick that on the back of that sentiment bit. And have "It's Your Day" down the bottom there. That piece doesn't want to come off. Let's have "Happy Birthday" coming in down there. Oh. Come in with some of the champagne rhinestones, just for a bit of sparkle. And I have just cut a bit of the stripy paper on that inside piece. You could obviously do a bit of stamping or something on there, and likewise with your envelope you could do a bit of stamping, or you could add some of that paper to the flap, just so that it all coordinates. So there's one with the little peaches and the branch and the blossom. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Right, let's have a look. Let's move my trimmer out of the way for a minute. And we'll have a play with one of the big peaches now. Let's make sure I clean it, make sure it's good and clean, because we've just used it for pear pizzazz. So I don't want green peaches, because that would suggest they're not ripe. And I'm going to come in with the tailored tags for this one. Sorry, I'm wobbling you all about. Let's just give these a bit of a clean. I'll open this up. And what we like about these new cases is that it just helps us to position the stamps back in and check that they're all back and in order. So there's the leaf. Obviously we've been playing with a lot of sort of orangey, pinky, yellowy things. So our stamps are going to take on an orangey, pinky, yellowy hue. But they are tools, not jewels. It does not in any way affect their ability to stamp. And somewhere just there we've got "It's Your Day," and that comes in down there. Okay, all stamps back accounted for. I've got the big peach one just there. Let's come in, clear some of our dimensionals and bits and pieces out of the way, and come in with the tailored tags. Now you've got two styles of tags here. You've got sort of this flat topped one, and then you've got the curly top one. I think I'm going to go with the curly top one. You do then have these really nice sort of little reinforcers that you can use with your tags. We might want a second one, we'll see in a minute, but I'm going to start with one of these. And again, a bit of basic white card. Let's cut ourselves a tag to get us started. How pretty is that? And I'm going to take this little set of reinforcers and I think I might come in. You can listen to me rummage around in the background. I'm going to die cut those from some Calypso coral card. Now these do cut multiples, so I will have 4 little reinforcer rings just there, or little wheels, or whatever you want them to be. So we'll have that going on there in a minute. Let's put that die back. Just put those to one side in case we do decide to go in for another one. And I'm going to take this rest of this piece of basic white, and we'll have a play with some big peaches. Now I was having quite a play with these a little while ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in again with some Mango Melody, and again I'm going to come in with my sponge dauber and then I can find it. It's underneath my dies, some Calypso coral, and I'm going to stamp 2 peaches, I think, to start. We might need more, we will see. So let's ink it up first with Mango Melody. Then take Calypso coral. I'm going to add that in. Round and about. And then we'll give that a stamp. Now this stamp does not give you it does give you sort of, you get the different gradients in it as you would expect from a distinctive stamp, but you always sort of get a sense of, peaches are fluffy, aren't they? You just get that sort of sense of, you know, fluffiness from them. I know some people are a bit uncomfortable with it not being a solid image, and if that's you, then these perhaps aren't stamp sets for you. But I love the sort of sense of texture and different colour you get with them. Right, so I've stamped 2 of those, and as you can see, we've got the Mango Melody base colour and that Calypso coral coming on the top. Now the other thing I've got here beside me is a couple of watercolour pencils. Now watercolour pencils are fab for adding in extra highlights and details. So I'm going to take my Calypso coral pencil and I'm going to sort of add in some even deeper sort of pinky tones. So let's have some coming in around this edge. And obviously you can just stamp and go. You don't have to fiddly faddly if you don't want to. But if you like a bit of fiddly faddly in, then the stamp has given you a wonderful base for which you can then go in and have a bit of a play. I'm adding in a bit more Calypso coral around here. And the other thing I've got here is a yellow watercolour pencil, so I think it's a Daffodil Delight actually. And blend that in a bit. And you can see the difference between those two. So this is one that I've just stamped and daubed. This is one that I've added the watercolour pencil to. Again, let's come in with this watercolour pencil around this edge where you'd expect there to be a bit of shading. Will come in over the top here. Let's bring in our yellow one again. Okay, so there's two little peaches that we will die cut in a minute. Just quickly going to sharpen a pencil. I want it to be massively sharp necessarily, but right, okay, so I've got a garden green pencil there, but I'm not going to stamp in garden green. I'm going to bring in these leaves. So I want the pair of leaves and the stalk like this. And for this one we're going to start with a base colour of Pear Pizzazz. Now I could bring in another dauber, but I'm just going to use my watercolour card to add in some more shading. Now the leaves themselves will give you that classic distinctive multi-tonal thing going on. I'll take the brown pencil, just going to come in and very lightly add a bit of a, so it's brown to that stalk. And then a little bit of darker, and depending on what colour pencils you've got. Come in with a bit of yellow there as well. Okay, so there we have 2 peaches, 2 lot sets of leaves. And let's find our dies. And then we'll die cut those. Here comes the rain again. Just looked at my hand and thought, what on earth have I done? I've obviously leant on the sponge dauber. Look at that. Either that or I've come out suddenly with some incredibly worrying tropical disease. And there's one. Really pleased with how that's come out. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Now, I've not yet had much of a play with the pastels, but I would suspect that you could probably use the pastels to add extra shading to things like this. That will be something to have a play with. And I get 5 minutes. Let's give our peach and our leaf stamps a little bit of now. I think I'll grab some balmy blue. They're beautiful, aren't they, for adding? And I think sometimes it's just that we forget, Debbie, we forget these things, and then suddenly we go, oh yeah, I could do that. And then you remember and you're off on a roll for a little while. Right, I'm going to add some balmy blue. In the background here. take this little itsy bitsy stamp with the little flowers on. And I think I'll go Calypso Coral with those. Let's just add in some little blossom. Let's stick our little stalks in place. We'll have one going one way and one going the other, because I don't think there's any reason why we can't. With our little reinforcer up there. That'll teach me to stamp the blossom and then think about where I'm going to put the peaches, won't it? Just going to drop that down a bit. Won't be seen, so it won't matter. So I'll have one coming in here. And one coming in down there. And I'm going to raise those up. Like that. We're now getting to that. We've been doing this for a little while, so what on earth have I done with X, Y and Z? Hello, Hazel. Oh, that's it. Actually, I'm going to leave that a minute. Let's grab a length of, let me just do quite that long actually. Let's grab a length of the white seam binding and some dark Calypso Coral blend. Let's just colour a bit of seam binding just using the stamping blends, the alcohol markers, to colour that seam binding. Takes the colour so well. Just leave that a second to dry. It's dried beautifully on my glass mat. It will come off in a minute, but at least we know it's not going to come off easily onto our project, which is what we're most worried about. Let's thread that through there. And then I'll take a bit of the white and tie that round into a bow. Bring that a bit smaller and trim those ends off. And I think likewise I'm going to trim that off a little bit. Right, so there we have a really nice tag that we could use as a tag, but we can equally go on to use it to create a card. We've been having too much fun today. Just looked at the time. Now, fancying a bit of the, quite like the blue spot. Put a bit of that at 10 centimetres. 14.4. And then cut a bit that's 4 centimetres, I think. And we'll cut that at 14.4 as well. And have that as a bit of a floral panel. No, one white card front, I think, for this one. So I'll make a standard card base. Cut my cardstock in half one way, score it in half the other, whichever way you want to do that, depending on what sort of orientation you want your card. But yeah, no, I think that needs to be a white card base. We have our tag coming down there, and then we need a little greeting on there, don't we? So have a peachy day. Happy birthday. Thanks so much to a sweet friend. Hello. Have a peachy day. I'll stuff it in barley blue. Cut that while I decide how and where I want it. Just there might be quite good. Might not. Not stuck anything down yet. So I think what I'm going to do is let's stick down this floral blossom strip down the middle up there. Then we'll bring that in and we'll put that up on dimensionals. One in the middle for good measure. Seem to have managed to stick a back down, but I'm not going to worry about it too much because it won't be seen anyway. Let's have that across there. And then this have a peachy day we will tuck so it's sticking out there. Can we just ease that over slightly? That's better. We'll stick that, cut that off, and now we've got that all lined up. We'll stick that down. And now decisions. Let's come in with some of the opal rounds. Those are really pretty. We'll just put some of those on. I do love the little sort of glittery elements you get with those opal rounds. They're really pretty, and obviously then they pick up whatever colours are around them. Let's clear the decks a little bit. So there, we've used quite a few of those papers. Used quite a few of the stamps. We've got blossom, we've got little peaches, we've got big peaches. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous sweeter products. And don't forget, not yet played with these, but you've also got your lovely little jars that you can be filling with fabulous treats for people. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and you've enjoyed our little play with the peach sweet. As I said at the beginning, I apologise if you have had the background of rain the entire way through. So you know, any large donations to a Build Helena craft studio that hasn't got a perspex roof will be gratefully received. But until that time, we will carry on regardless. So have a lovely weekend, everybody. I hope the sun shines for you and that you will be back again next week. And obviously, if you want to get your hands on this peach sweet, give us a shout.